guys, how are you doing? How have you been? I have missed you so much. Nimewa miss kabisa. I know I've been away. Nimewatupa sana. I have been working on a lot of things. I'm also doing personalized sessions for life coach. I'm doing life coaching on a personal level. So it's taken a lot of my time, but I'm back here. I would never let you guys go, by the way. Miss Sissy Walenga, you guys are my peeps. I love my YouTube channel. So if you're new here, my name is Muthoni Mukiri. I am a life coach. I help people make better choices in regards to their personal lives. And I'm also passionate about emotional and mental wellness. So if you scroll down all my videos, you will know what exactly I do and what exactly I'm talking about today. So I have good news, guys. Okay, it's good news to me. I don't know if it's good news to you, but I feel like I want to share it with you ladies. This YouTube channel has opened so many doors for me, guys. So many doors. I've been invited to offices that I never knew I would step in. I have been invited to talk to people that I never thought would want to hear from me. Imagine. I've had NGOs reach out to me about the content I do here. I've had some mothers want me to talk to their daughters. I've had some ladies want me to talk to girls they mentor and all that. It's really been a blessing to me, and lately God has just been showing himself to me through my content on YouTube. Like, it's been such a good time for me. So I'm so happy for your support, guys. Thank you so much. I'm sorry I've been away and I've missed you. I love you guys. You guys are my family. Like, I really love you for sure. So I've been doing a lot. If you sent me an email, you want personalized sessions, I've not been able to get back to you. I will still get back to you. I have a backlog and I'm trying to respond to everyone. And I'm also trying to make time for those that have already started the sessions. So I have a very interesting topic today. Breaking generational curses. So every time we hear generational curses, like, we cringe. Like, we just automatically think about those incurable diseases, about that crazy family, about. But we forget about the everyday things that have been passed on to us, as that the everyday beliefs that have been passed on to us that are generational curses. Now, what is a generational curse? Generational curses are habits or behaviors that have been passed on to us from previous generations. They are like a set of beliefs that our generations before us have been living by, and that we are continuing to live by. The fact that it's a curse, it means it's something negative, something that's affecting you negatively. That is what I want to talk about today. And for most of us, when we hear generational curses, we just think about the only way to break them is through prayer. I love praying. I have such a good relationship with God. However, as we pray, how can our actions and our thoughts and our deeds align with that prayer? How can we not just pray while folding our hands like this and waiting for miracle? How can we also push ourselves forward? That is what this is about. So I want to talk about examples of generational curses. I'm going to talk about examples, give examples, even personal examples. I'm also still going to talk about how to know if that is a generational curse, how to get over it, and how to break these curses. So, examples of generational curses. There's this lady I met not long ago. It's just as part of my life coaching. And then she told me she's overweight. She's really big. And then she told me, Sissy, family yetu tunakuanga hivi. We are this big. Tunakuanga na matumbo zinakaa hivi. Mind you, the weight has really affected her health-wise. Like, her health is going downhill and she's in her early 20s. So she told me it's a family thing. But then I asked her, so in that family of yours, how many are you? We are 7 of us. Who works out? Who goes to the gym? Nobody. Who eats a healthy diet? Kuna mtu mwenye akona healthy diet ya vegetables, taking water? Nobody. They have parties every weekend. They eat bacon, everything. I'm not against food. You guys are getting my point. She said, Sisi kwetu tunakuanga hivi. Well, that's a generational curse. However, that is something you can stop yourself. Because you can sit in the dysfunction and in the pain and then sit saying, this is how we are as a family. But you're dying. That thing is killing you. So that's one example. Another example is of single mothers. You believe and you say it. Sisi kwetu tunakwanga single mothers. Sisi hatuwezi eka wanaume. Sisi kwetu hatuolewangwi. That's not necessarily something positive. It's not. So you can either sit there and say sisi hatuolewangwi, ama you can catch yourself and you can realize, by the way, this is a curse and I want to stop it for my daughters and my sons. Another thing, there's another story that is told of a patient went to see a doctor. After examination, the doctor told the patient, you have diabetes. The patient told the doctor, oh, it makes sense because diabetes runs in our family. The doctor replied to the patient, no, diabetes does not run in your family. Nobody runs in your family. I don't know. I would try to think about what I've said, that diabetes story. Another story is about being divorced. Like everybody is divorced in your family. And then you hear saying, Sissy, we are all divorced. Sissy, what tukwangi wa kuolewa. As in, you will pass it on to your children, to your daughters. And then you're here saying, hey, your family, we don't get married. You are just single mothers. And then you're also crying that you have 5 children you're taking care of alone. You can cut that curse. You can cut it. You can stop that generational curse. Another thing is also about poverty. Nobody likes to be poor. And for some people, poverty has run in the family until to a point you think we are bewitched. Sisi tunakwanga tu hivyo. Sisi nani alituroga. So you operate on that level of, sisi we're usually like this. You don't even ever think of starting a business. You don't ever think of going beyond where you are at. We all want to be like our parents or our relatives who've been there before us. However, ask yourself how being like that, how far they've come being like that. And also ask yourself how far you could go with those habits. Our family history and baggage affects who we are, whether we like it or not. It's going to affect who you are. And our future is not determined by our past. It's determined by the choices we make every day. Whatever happened in the past, whatever beliefs you believed, whatever you knew your family is like, is not going to determine your future. What will determine your future is what you will do every day, the little steps you're taking every day. Why should you break generational curses? Generational curses they will hold you back. They're negative. They're limiting. They will make you feel like you can't do better than what you found. And when I'm here, I'm representing the women who were there before me. My mother, my grandmother, I want to do better than them. I just don't want to leave it at that. And I want to look at their good traits, what positivity they brought to this world, carry it forward, and where I felt like there were shortcomings, try to make it better. For my girls, for my daughters, for my daughters' daughters, for my sisters, I want to cut it. I don't want that curse to move on. As in, I'm going to be the last person it's going to end with. There's also another, when I go back to examples, there's also a thing about anger in families. It can be a generational curse. You're the people who are so angry. Munakimbizana na mapanga kila siku. Everybody's bewitching everybody. Everybody is killing everybody because of land. The brother is doing this to the other brother. It's a family full of anger. It could be a generational curse, and you want to cut it. And we're not here to blame, to say our parents, to blame them, to say, because you operate from your level of awareness. They did the best they could with the information they have. Breaking the generational curse will bring you a lot of freedom to also be able to cultivate healthy habits for healthy relationship with yourself, the people you love, and the world at large. To be able to know, to catch those barriers, to be able to know you can be anything you want to be, even if you've come from a family of divorcees, from a family who suffer from obesity, instead of sitting there in that pain, in that suffering, you can cut it loose and be different. And if your family did one thing, everybody said the family yetu ni watu sisi wote tunakuanga na obesity, sisi wote tunakuanga hivi, wanono hivi. You can, and has it worked for you? No. Everybody is struggling with lifestyle diseases. Diseases that are associated with obesity. So you can cut it. it's not worked for them, then if something has not worked, then do the opposite, do something different. So I want to talk about how to know if it's a generational curse, whatever you're suffering from, or if you have a generational curse that you're tagging along. The first thing is to reflect. The first thing is to reflect and to investigate. There are people who come from very angry families, very poor families, and if whatever area that's suffering in your life, investigate it and reflect it. Look at 4 generations behind you. Your generation, your parents, your grandparents, your great-grandparents. Is whatever you're going through, is whatever that's negative in your life, okay, whatever you're struggling with, did they also struggle with the same thing? The negative habits you want to cut, are they also in your family, especially in those 4 generations? Reflect and investigate. Even talk to your relatives, ask questions. I started to do that, even talking to my grandmother, talking to my dad, talking to my mother. I don't want to give very personal examples for obvious reasons, but I come from, every family has those things that you would want to cut. My family also has very good traits that I want to carry moving forward. At the same as I want to carry the positive ones, I'm also cognizant of the shortcomings that I want to cut, that I don't want my children to have the same belief. So you've reflected, you've investigated, and you've realized, by the way, this is a generational curse, and I want it to stop with me. Another thing that's really important is to start thinking for yourself, full stop. Instead of sitting and saying, sisi familia yetu tunakuanga na hasira, huyo nikimshika lazima lazima nilipishie. Or instead of saying, sisi familia yetu tunakuanga hivi, and then you start bringing up unhealthy children. Mtoto amezaliwa unamlisha bacon, unamlisha cheese, unamlisha kila kitu. Instead of just sitting there and saying that, think for yourself. What do you want for your children? What would you want for your life? Outside what your family does. If your family is full of single mothers or divorcees or all those things we talk about, what is it you would want for yourself? Mimi, for example, it can be you want to get married in the right way, like someone to come to your parents' house, ask for your hand in marriage, then do that for you. Think for yourself and stop thinking as a collective. Another thing you can do is to replace the old sayings with new sayings. Replace the old beliefs with new ones. Replace what you knew as right or as normal with the new healthier sayings. For example, if you believed that sisi kwetu tumelelewa na shida, sisi kwetu shida ni kama imepandwa kwa shamba, how do you replace that? Replace that with, whoa, God has blessed us so much. Hey, look at my house. God has blessed us. God loves me so much. Yani mimi, I will be so rich. That is how you replace those statements. Statements to do with, sisi kwetu tunapatanga tu wasichana peke yake. Sisi kwetu hatupatangi vijana. Sisi kwetu hatuwezi weka ndoa. How do you replace those statements? Mimi, I will have the best marriage. I will have a very good relationship. I will have a very good relationship. I will want to bring my children up in a family setup with the mother and the father. That is how you replace those things. Whatever you say, you're also listening. I keep saying that every time. Whatever you say, you're also listening yourself. You see how you hear people talk to you? When things you say, sisi kote tunakuanga tu wanono, tuko tu unhealthy. You're also listening. You're also consuming that information. So how do you change that? You change it by challenging those things. Those things, even poverty. You guys, nobody wants to be poor. And if 4 generations before you are languishing in poverty and you're still suffering in poverty, it is a generational curse. You can cut it. Another thing is to pray. Pray. God answers prayers. I say pray about everything. Sometimes I'm just in traffic and I just close my eyes and I just tell God something. Pray. And as you pray, also reflect and catch yourself. Sometimes you want to do better and you want to be a better person, but in the midst of that, sometimes you find yourself going back to the old you. Learn to catch yourself. When you find, for example, you're working towards having healthier relationships with your neighbors and your colleagues, you want to, because maybe how you are brought up, you don't know what a healthy relationship is. So it means those times you find yourself going back to saying, sisi hatuolewangu, you will catch yourself and be like, sisi watu wako wanaolewa lakini mimi nitakuwa wa kwanza. You know, and you start operating from that level, because when you already know automatically in your head, when you're already telling yourself sisi kwetu hatuolewangu, sisi kwetu hatufanyangi, sisi kwetu hatufanyangi, it means you will start operating. Even when you have hardships in your relationship, you just automatically know it's not gonna go anywhere because kwenye mwolewangu. You don't even make the effort to make it better, to even work on yourself as a human being, as a person. Also, I didn't want this video to be long. I always say this, but I always have them really long. The final thing is to celebrate yourself as you continue cutting the generational curses in your family. When you find, if you're used to believing that everybody hates you, you know, there are those people who think everybody hates me, and my family, my mother hates me, her mother hated her, everybody hates. How about you start saying, oh, I am so lovable, by the way. I really love myself. When you start doing those things, start celebrating yourself. We say celebrate the little milestones. Do you know who you're spending the rest of your life with? Yourself. Make your life better. Don't make your life a living hell. You can cut those beliefs. You can have a healthy, nice family. It starts with your mindset. It starts with what you're saying. It starts with what you start believing. So that was all for today. Today I've just spoken generally about breaking generational curses. I'm not a pastor. That's why I said as you pray, because most of these things we believe, and which is really important, that they are usually prayer helps, and prayer comes a long way in helping you cut your generational curses. At the same time, these are things I think you need to do. Reflect and know what it is exactly. And as you pray for God to help you cut those generational curses, cut yourself. Reflect. Find out, okay, we are languishing in poverty. I'm also here in my bedsit. I don't know what I'll eat for next week. Start thinking of business ideas. Start thinking about who you can talk to. Start changing your mentality. You know you can become, let me tell you, you can come from a very poor family and become the first Jeff Bezos in Africa. You can become the owner of the biggest empire. You can have a very good, happy and good relationship, regardless of whether you've come from a family of divorces. You can. And that is what exactly this channel is about. So tomorrow I will be talking about how generational curses are affecting your love life. How generational curses affect your love life. So guys, see you tomorrow. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to share these videos. I love you. And I also want to hear, what are some of the generational curses you feel are running in your family, or some of the generational curses you feel you want to cut down? Bye guys. Have a nice afternoon.